The human named Aaron Cole stood on the edge of the alien forest, his armor cracked and dusty from the long escape. Smoke drifted behind him from the crash site of his shuttle. He had been sent to explore the new world called Nerath, but his mission had gone wrong the moment his team was ambushed by strange machines that moved like beasts. Now he was alone. Almost. In his arms was a small alien child, no taller than his chest, with soft green skin and silver eyes that glowed faintly even in daylight. She was frightened but silent, clutching his chest plate like a cub hanging to its parent. Her clothes were torn, her small breathing uneven. Aaron didn't know her name, but he knew one thing. She had trusted him. He had found her inside a burning alien settlement. His translator had barely worked, but he understood enough. Someone had attacked her people. He didn't know who. Maybe the same machines that had destroyed his ship. But when he saw the terrified child reaching out for help, he didn't think. He just acted. He lifted her up and ran. For the last 2 hours, they had been hiding in the thick, glowing forests of Nerath. The plants were strange, blue leaves, glowing vines, and large petals that hummed softly when touched. The air shimmered with floating motes of light. It was beautiful, but Aaron couldn't enjoy it. He could still hear the faint echo of metal feet moving somewhere in the distance. The machines were still searching. He placed the child gently under the roots of a giant tree that twisted like a spiral tower. He crouched beside her, checking the scanner on his wrist. The machine signal was weak now, but still moving closer. He whispered to the child, "Stay quiet, okay? Don't make a sound," she nodded. Her small hand reached out and touched his cheek, glowing softly. Her eyes showed trust and something else, a strange sadness, as if she knew loss far too young. Aaron drew his blaster and moved ahead, hiding behind the trees. He saw movement through the mist, a metallic creature shaped like a wolf but with blades for legs. It sniffed the air and made a clicking sound, scanning for life signs. Aaron aimed carefully, fired once, and the creature fell with a hiss, green sparks flying from its chest. But where there was one, there were always more. 3 more mechanical beasts emerged from the fog. Aaron gritted his teeth. His power cells were almost empty. He didn't have enough shots to fight all of them. Then he heard a strange hum behind him. He turned and saw the alien child standing, her hands glowing brighter. She looked frightened but determined. The glow expanded, forming a shimmering shield around her and Aaron. The machines fired beams of energy, but the light bent away from them like water on glass. Aaron stared, amazed. The child was using some kind of bioenergy. He didn't understand it, but it was saving them. He lifted her into his arms again and ran deeper into the forest while she kept the shield alive. The ground shook under his boots. Trees fell behind him as the machines chased, cutting through the shield bit by bit. Finally, he saw a narrow cave at the edge of a cliff. Without thinking, he jumped down, rolling on the ground with the child in his arms. The entrance was small enough to hide them. He placed the girl down gently and aimed his blaster at the opening, ready to defend, but no machine appeared. The forest outside grew quiet again, only the soft hum of insects remaining. Aaron sat down, breathing hard. The girl curled up beside him, eyes half closed. She whispered a word, something that sounded like Lyra. He guessed it was her name. He smiled weakly. "Lyra, huh? You're safe now, I promise." She looked up at him, confused by his language, but his tone seemed to calm her. She reached out and touched the insignia on his shoulder, the symbol of Earth's exploration corps. She pointed to it, then to herself, as if asking who he was. He tapped his chest. "Aaron?" Then he pointed to her. "Lyra." The child smiled softly, repeating his name in her own accent. Aaron. For a moment, despite the danger, he felt peace. It had been years since he had heard someone say his name with warmth. Hours passed. The night of Nerath was strange. The stars moved slowly and the moon glowed green. Aaron shared the small ration bar he had left. Lyra refused at first, then accepted a piece shyly. She looked at him while eating, her silver eyes reflecting the soft light. When she slept, Aaron stayed awake, keeping watch. He had faced alien soldiers, harsh planets, and deep space storms, but something about protecting a child made him feel more human than ever. In the silence, his communicator crackled faintly. "Exploration Team Alpha. Respond, survivors?" The voice was weak, full of static. Aaron tried to answer, but the signal was too broken. The machines had likely jammed the frequency. He looked at Lyra again. He knew staying here was dangerous. They needed to move at dawn, find higher ground, maybe reach the mountains in the east where the machines couldn't track them. When morning came, Aaron lifted the girl again and started walking. The forest light danced through the mist. The air smelled of rain and metal. He didn't know where he was going, but he walked with purpose. Along the way, they came across an old alien structure, half buried in the ground, overgrown with vines. It looked like a temple or a research station. The doors were sealed, but Lyra placed her hand on the surface and the metal bloomed open like a flower. Inside, the walls glowed faintly, filled with strange markings. Holograms flickered, images of tall alien figures with the same silver eyes as Lyra. They were scientists, explorers, maybe her people before the attack. Aaron found a console that still worked. His translator connected, showing fragmented data. Energy source stolen by the machines. Queen injured. Child missing. Aaron's eyes widened. Lyra was not just a random child. She was the daughter of their leader. He looked down at her. She was staring at a hologram of a tall female alien. Same silver eyes, same glow, wearing a crown of light. The image flickered and spoke in an alien tone. Lyra reached out, whispering a word Aaron didn't know, but he could hear the emotion. Mother. The hologram shimmered, showing coordinates to a place far across the forest, near the mountains. It seemed to be a signal beacon. Aaron understood. Her mother might still be alive. He knelt beside Lyra. "We'll go there," he said softly, even though she couldn't understand the words. "We'll find her." For the first time, the girl smiled fully. She held his hand tightly, her small fingers glowing with warmth. They left the temple and moved again through the wild lands. The forest grew denser, full of strange life, floating creatures that sang, trees that whispered when touched. Sometimes Aaron wondered if the planet itself was alive. As the sun began to set again, the ground trembled. The machines were back, larger this time. One of them, a towering metal beast with red sensors, emerged from the shadows. It roared in a mechanical voice that shook the air. Aaron pushed Lyra behind a rock and fired, hitting its sensors, but the creature barely flinched. It swung one metallic limb, throwing Aaron to the ground. His blaster flew from his hand. Pain burned in his side, but he forced himself to stand. The machine advanced, raising its weapon. Then Lyra screamed, a sound not of fear but power. Light exploded around her, pure and bright. The ground cracked, trees bent, and the machine staggered backward. Aaron shielded his eyes as the energy formed a wave, pushing the creature off the cliff into the river below. Silence fell again. Aaron stared at Lyra, who had collapsed to her knees, exhausted. He ran to her, lifting her gently. Her eyes fluttered open, weak but calm. She whispered something softly in her language. A thank you, maybe. Aaron carried her to safety once more. As he walked through the quiet night, he looked at the stars above. Somewhere out there, his people might think he was dead. But here, on this strange world, he had a new purpose: to protect this child until she reached her mother. He whispered to himself, "Hang on, little one. I'll get you home." The forest wind answered with a low hum, as if the planet itself had heard his promise. And so under the green moon of Nerath, a lone human soldier and a lost alien princess began their journey, one of survival, trust, and the start of a bond that would soon change both their worlds forever. The sun of Nerath rose behind the distant green mountains, spreading light through the misty forest. Aaron Cole walked carefully, holding Lyra close to his chest. She was still weak after using her strange energy against the machine last night. Her skin glowed faintly and she breathed softly as she slept. Aaron had walked all night. He could not risk stopping. The machines were hunting again. He could feel it. Every now and then, he heard the metallic sound of wings in the air or saw faint red lights passing between the trees. The machines never stopped searching for the missing alien child. He followed the coordinates from the old temple's hologram. His wrist scanner flickered and pointed east toward the high mountains covered with silver mist. Somewhere beyond those peaks, Lyra's mother was waiting. Or at least he hoped so. The terrain grew rough as he moved ahead. Sharp rocks, deep roots, and glowing streams made the journey slow. His armor was damaged. One arm plate cracked and his leg burned from an old wound. But he kept walking, step after step. Sometimes Lyra woke and looked up at him. She didn't speak his words, but she would smile faintly, and that alone gave him strength to keep going. When she saw his pain, she placed her small hand over his wound and a soft light spread, easing it slightly. Her powers seemed tied to emotion, not control. As they reached a small plateau, Aaron stopped to rest. He placed Lyra on a smooth rock and searched the area for food. The forest here was alive with fruit that glowed faintly blue. He had tested one earlier. It was safe for both of them. He brought a few back and offered one to her. She giggled when she saw the juice stain his chin. It was the first time he had heard her laugh, a small sound but warm, innocent. For a moment, Aaron forgot about the machines, the war, the danger. He felt like a father again. He had once been one. Years ago, back on Earth, his daughter had died during the Plague Wars. That pain had followed him into space, buried under missions and orders. But now, with Lyra holding his hand, that empty space in his heart felt alive again. Suddenly, the peace broke. The ground trembled lightly. Aaron looked up and saw a dark shadow moving through the sky, a large metallic craft, silent and cold, scanning the land below with red beams. It was a hunter drone. He grabbed Lyra, pulling her into the trees. The beam passed just inches away, cutting through leaves like fire. The craft hovered, scanning. Aaron held his breath, his back pressed against a tree. Lyra clung tightly to him, her small body trembling. After a long minute, the drone moved away. He exhaled slowly. The machines were closing in. They needed to reach the beacon soon. By afternoon, the forest changed again. The air grew cooler and tall white crystals appeared among the trees, glowing softly. Lyra's eyes widened with recognition. She pointed ahead excitedly, whispering something in her language. Aaron smiled. "You know this place?" She nodded eagerly. The crystals seemed to respond to her presence, humming softly as she passed. The scanner showed stronger signals now, energy readings that matched the alien temple. They were close. Finally, they reached the base of the mountains. A massive stone archway stood there, covered in vines but still active. Strange symbols glowed along its edge. Lyra touched them one by one, and the archway came alive, opening into a tunnel of light. Aaron hesitated. "You sure this is safe?" he murmured, though he knew she couldn't understand. Lyra smiled at him, then took his hand and pulled him gently forward. Together they stepped through the arch. Inside was a long tunnel carved from crystal. The walls shimmered like liquid glass. The air felt warm and alive, like it was breathing. As they walked, the tunnel slowly opened into a vast underground valley filled with lights and alien structures that floated above the ground. Aaron stopped, amazed. It was a hidden city, silent, beautiful, untouched by the machines. Tall figures with silver skin and glowing eyes stood guard at the edges, their armor sleek and living, not metal. They looked at him with surprise and caution. Lyra called out in her own tongue, her voice full of joy. One of the guards dropped his spear and ran forward, kneeling before her. He spoke quickly into a communicator. Moments later, more guards arrived, surrounding Aaron with weapons ready. Aaron raised his hands slowly. "I'm not here to fight. I brought her back." They didn't understand his words, but they understood his actions. Lyra stepped in front of him, spreading her arms to protect him. She shouted something sharp and firm. The guards paused, confused. Then a new sound filled the air, a deep, graceful tone. The crowd parted as a tall alien woman stepped forward, her presence commanding and calm. Her skin glowed brighter than the others, her eyes a soft silver mixed with gold. She wore a flowing garment that shimmered like starlight. Aaron knew instantly who she was. Lyra ran to her, crying out. The woman bent down, holding the child tightly in her arms, whispering words only they could understand. It was a reunion of light and emotion. Even Aaron, standing aside, felt a lump in his throat. After a moment, the woman looked at him. Her gaze was powerful yet gentle. She approached slowly, still holding Lyra. Aaron didn't move. He could tell from her eyes that she had already guessed what happened, that this strange human had protected her daughter, fought the machines, and brought her home. One of the guards handed her a translation device. She pressed it near her ear, then spoke in broken but understandable English. "You are the human who saved my child." Aaron nodded. "Yes, ma'am. I found her in the ruins. She was alone." The queen, because she could be nothing else, bowed her head slightly. "You have done what even our soldiers could not. For that, my life is in your debt." Aaron shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. I just did what anyone would do." She tilted her head. "No, not anyone. Many would have left her. You fought the machines with nothing but courage and broken armor." Her voice grew softer. Why? Aaron looked at Lyra, who was holding onto her mother's arm but staring at him with wide eyes. Because she needed someone, he said quietly, and I couldn't walk away again. The Queen studied him for a long time. Then she gestured for him to follow. The guards lowered their weapons. They entered the heart of the alien city, a glowing palace made of living crystal. The air itself seemed to sing softly. Inside, holograms floated showing the planet's history, their people once spread across the stars now hiding from the machine invaders. The Queen showed him a large map. The machines came from beyond the dark rift. They stole our energy core. Without it, we are dying. Aaron understood the gravity. The same machines attacked my ship, he said. They're spreading. They won't stop here, the Queen nodded. That is why we hide, but now they have found us again. You brought the machines with you. Her tone was not accusing, just sad. Aaron looked down. Then let me help you fight them. She looked surprised. You would fight for us? He met her gaze. I already did, and I'll do it again. Lyra tugged on her mother's sleeve, speaking rapidly in their language. The Queen smiled faintly, then looked back at Aaron. She says you are brave. She says you promised to take her home, and now you have kept that promise. Aaron smiled softly. She's a strong kid. The Queen placed a hand over Lyra's head. She is my heart, and you have protected it. She paused, then said, You cannot return to your people, can you? Aaron's silence was answer enough. His ship was destroyed. The machines had likely jammed all human signals in this sector. The Queen studied him again. Then stay. Help us rebuild. Teach us what you know of humans. Aaron hesitated. He had never thought of living anywhere but Earth or its colonies. Yet looking at Lyra's hopeful eyes and the Queen's calm strength, he realized he no longer belonged to the past. He nodded slowly. I'll stay. But if we're going to fight those machines, we'll need more than courage. We'll need strategy. The Queen smiled faintly. Then let us begin, human. That night, the city celebrated Lyra's return. The air filled with music, strange but beautiful like crystal bells ringing in the stars. Aaron watched from the edge, quietly smiling as Lyra danced around her mother, glowing with joy. For the first time in years, Aaron felt at peace. Yet deep inside, he knew peace would not last. The machines were still out there, rebuilding, hunting. He looked toward the mountains where dark clouds gathered again. The fight was not over, but now he was not alone. In this hidden alien world, a human soldier had found something greater than war. He had found purpose, family, and the start of an alliance that would soon shake the stars themselves. The sound of thunder echoed across the alien valley, though there were no clouds in the sky. It was not a storm, it was war. The machines had found the hidden city. Aaron Cole stood beside the alien queen on a high balcony carved from glowing stone. Below them, the city shimmered with shields of blue energy while soldiers prepared for battle. The air was thick with tension and the metallic scent of ozone. Lyra held her mother's hand, her silver eyes wide with fear but shining with courage. The Queen turned to Aaron. They come faster than expected, she said softly, her voice calm but full of worry. Our scouts saw their army beyond the mountain. Hundreds of machines, maybe thousands. Aaron nodded. He had been planning for this moment ever since he agreed to stay. For 2 weeks he had trained the alien warriors in human tactics, formation, ambush, and the art of using the land as a weapon. He had helped repair their old defense systems and worked with their engineers to turn broken relics into weapons. But even with all that, he knew they were outnumbered. They'll hit your shield first, he said, pointing to the holographic map floating between them. Once it weakens, they'll send their heavy walkers. That's when we strike from both sides. If we take down their command unit, the rest will fall into confusion. The Queen watched him closely. You speak as if you have done this many times. He gave a small smile. Too many. She studied him for a moment, then placed her hand lightly on his shoulder. Then lead us, human. Today, this battle is yours. Aaron felt a strange warmth in her voice, a trust he had not expected. He bowed slightly. Then I won't let you down. When the first machine appeared on the horizon, the sky darkened. The enemy came like a river of steel, towering walkers, smaller spider-like drones, and black crafts that glided silently above the ground. Red lights burned through the mist. The sound of their engines made the ground tremble. The alien warriors stood ready. Their armor glowed silver, and their weapons hummed with energy. Aaron walked among them, checking positions, giving orders. The soldiers looked at him with respect. To them, the human was strange but fearless, a being of flesh who stood against machines without fear. Lyra watched from the balcony with her mother. Her small hands clutched the railing. The queen looked down at her daughter. "He will protect us," she whispered, and Lyra nodded. Then the battle began. The machines fired first. Red beams hit the city's shield, flashing like lightning. The ground shook. The warriors shouted, running to their stations. Aaron raised his arm. "Hold your fire, wait!" He waited for the right moment when the machines came close enough for his plan. When the first walker stepped within the valley's center, Aaron shouted, "Now!" The alien energy cannons fired in unison. Blue light exploded across the field, tearing through the first line of machines. The ground glowed from the blast. More drones swarmed forward, but hidden turrets rose from beneath the earth, striking them down. Aaron moved fast, commanding the troops through his wrist communicator. His armor was cracked and dusty, but he carried himself with strength. He fought alongside the aliens, his blaster firing with deadly aim. Every shot counted, but the machines kept coming. For every one that fell, 2 more appeared. The shield flickered, growing weaker. The queen stood at the heart of the command tower, her hands raised. She was channeling her power into the city's defense, feeding the shield with her energy. The strain showed on her face. Lyra stood beside her, glowing softly, sharing her strength. Aaron's voice came through the speakers. "The main walker is advancing. It's targeting the palace." The queen's eyes widened. "That's the command unit." Aaron looked at the battlefield. The massive walker was twice the size of the others, covered in black armor and armed with multiple cannons. It moved like a living mountain of metal. Every step shook the earth. He opened the communicator. "If we take it down, the others will stop." "I'm going after it." The queen's voice was firm. "It's too dangerous." He smiled faintly. "You once said I fight because I care. I'm just keeping that promise." He ran toward the battlefield. Explosions lit the valley like a storm. Dust and fire filled the air. Aaron dodged falling debris, shooting drones that tried to flank him. He reached a crashed alien skimmer and pulled himself onto it. The machine was still functional. He activated it and flew low across the field toward the giant walker. The alien soldiers saw him and cheered. Their courage returned. Even the queen, watching from above, felt her heart tighten as she saw the lone human racing through chaos like a streak of fire. Aaron reached the walker's base and jumped off the skimmer. The giant machine turned its cannons toward him. He rolled behind a rock, barely escaping the blast. The ground cracked open and heat washed over him. He took a deep breath. "All right, big guy. Let's finish this." He ran up the side of the broken rock slope using his grappling line to reach the walker's leg. The magnetic boots on his armor clamped onto the surface. He climbed fast, avoiding bursts of plasma fire. His hands burned, his body ached, but he didn't stop. When he reached the top, he found the control core, a glowing red sphere surrounded by cables. He aimed his blaster, but a smaller defense drone rose from the surface and shot at him. He ducked, returning fire. Sparks flew everywhere. He leapt forward, stabbing the energy cell from his armor directly into the core. "Let's see how you like human ingenuity," he muttered. The core pulsed wildly, its red light turning white. Alarms blared. Aaron pushed off and jumped from the walker just before it exploded. The blast was massive, shaking the entire valley. When the smoke cleared, the giant machine was gone, only burning metal remained. The rest of the mechanical army froze, their red lights flickering. One by one, they collapsed. The link was broken. The battlefield grew silent. The alien warriors looked around in disbelief. Then they cheered, their voices echoing through the mountains. Aaron lay on the ground, breathing hard. His armor was scorched, his shoulder bleeding, but he smiled. He had done it. From the balcony, Lyra saw him fall and cried out. Her mother didn't hesitate. She spread her arms, creating a platform of light beneath her feet, and descended rapidly. Soldiers followed her as she ran to Aaron's side. He opened his eyes when he felt a soft hand on his face. The queen knelt beside him, her silver eyes glowing with tears. "You saved us," she whispered. He gave a weak smile. "Told you I wouldn't let you down." Lyra ran to him and hugged him tightly. He winced from the pain but laughed softly, resting his hand on her small head. "Hey, I told you I'd get you home, didn't I?" The queen placed her hand over his heart. "You did more than that. You gave us hope." She looked up at the sky where the smoke was slowly clearing. The stars of Nerath began to shine again, bright and peaceful. Aaron sat up slowly, supported by the Queen and 2 soldiers. "It's over," he said. The Queen shook her head. "For now, but the machines will return one day." "Then you'll be ready," Aaron said. "And I'll be here when they do." She smiled faintly. "You speak as if this is your home." He looked around, the alien city glowing with life again, the people cheering, Lyra laughing beside him. "Maybe it is," he said quietly. The Queen reached out and took his hand. "Then you are one of us now, Aaron of Earth." He nodded. "And you are one of mine." From that day on, Aaron stayed in the city of Nerath. He helped rebuild the defenses, trained the soldiers, and learned their language. The Queen often sought his advice, and Lyra followed him everywhere, calling him her protector. The people began to speak his name with respect. To them, he was the human who stood against the machines when no one else could. The man of courage and heart who saved their heir and fought for a world not his own. At night, he would stand on the same balcony where it all began, watching the stars. The Queen would sometimes join him. They didn't always speak, but the silence between them carried understanding. A bond born from shared struggle and trust. Once, she asked softly, "Do you ever miss your home?" Aaron looked at the stars. "I used to," he said. "But home isn't just a place. It's the people you protect," she smiled gently. "Then you are home." Lyra's laughter echoed through the halls behind them, bright and full of life. Aaron turned to see her playing with other children, her silver glow brighter than ever. He felt peace, a rare gift in the universe. And though he knew the stars still hid dangers beyond sight, he also knew something else. Humanity's strength was not just in weapons or machines. It was in the heart that refused to give up, the courage to protect even those who were different, and the will to stand between darkness and hope. Aaron Cole, the last soldier of Earth, had found something greater than survival. He had found a new family, a new purpose, and a place where a human's heart could shine brighter than any star. And on the world of Nerath, the legend of the human protector would live for generations, forever remembered as the man who stood for life when all else fell to steel and silence.